Happy New Year, you guys. It's Melissa here, and I'm back with a video today about things that we are doing right. And the first thing that I wanted to share with you, which is our New Year's project as a family, is a full front yard redo. This is the first in a series of videos that I'm planning on sharing about things that we're doing well as a family that we look forward to continuing in the next decade, be it gardening, raising our children, living on a budget in an expensive city. There are a lot of people putting videos out about New Year's resolutions and changes. My family, we're really focused on what we're already doing well and what we're capable of as a family, and we're really reinvesting in those areas again this year. So today I have 5 tips that I wanted to share with you, as well as our budget for this project that's prioritizing a hedge and privacy and screening for our yard, functional and beautiful plants that will either have flowers or fruits, as well as a vegetable garden for our children. So let's dive right in. My first tip is choose a project that is manageable in both time and budget. So this project is something that we started over the break in January when we had time off from school, time off from work, nothing was going on, and we just invested a solid 6 days of working every day, all day in the yard, and we'll probably be going for about one or so more weeks with finishing up this project. January is a great time if you want to be planting in Los Angeles. We're in a really temperate climate, so if you live somewhere where it's snowing right now, this is something to put a pin in and think about when you want to get back to the garden. In terms of budget, I'll share those numbers with you at the end, but we just sort of went by feel on this. We have been here in this house for over 3 years, so we've been saving up money. We felt ready to pull the trigger on several $100s at least in plants, and then we saved up on other costs by doing the work ourselves, using things that we had, or sourcing things really responsibly. So that's my tip number 2, is stretch your budget. We stretch our budget by putting in smaller hedge plants. We put in 5-gallon Eugenias. They cost $15 a plant instead of the $45 for a 15-gallon plant. For a couple of reasons, that's a smart move for us. One is it's easier to plant the smaller plants. We had to dig smaller holes. It saved us money, and those plants will hopefully get established better, and we will just nurture them long term. So a young plant might acclimate better than an older established plant that's now getting switched out of its pot. Next tip is to use items that you have. So we had some leftover flagstone from our pool project. We bought that flagstone used out of someone's backyard that was about to demolish their house. We also sourced more flagstone for our stepping stones and our parkway area by the street. We sourced those on Craigslist from someone else who finished up a project and was just selling off their stone. For this particular project, we spent $65 on really expensive flagstone, and we didn't have to pay retail for that. I am also relocating some plants. I have items in pots that I'm going to be planting in the garden here. My other tip to save money that we used in this project is saving money on specials that are seasonal, like bare root roses, bulbs, even dahlia tubers, which we stocked up on. So those were all a great deal, and they're ideal for planting in these cold months. I also went straight to the source for things like our camellias. We went to our camellia grower, Nuccios. We are buying bulk, so we're not buying things in bags like manure and mulch. We're getting a big truck delivery in the coming week, and our gardeners will help us with spreading that. Those were all really great cost-saving measures for us. My tip number 3 is plant things that have a purpose. We put in a hedge to create privacy. We put in roses for blooms that will both climb on our fence and grow within the fence for cutting flowers, and we planted blueberries as our shrub plant to give greenery and fill in the space. Those blueberries are then going to yield a huge crop in June that our children and all of the neighbor children are really excited about. Behind me, I wanted something under the windows, and so we planted this beautiful little white variety of camellias. They're called buttermint. They have really profuse small white blooms, and I'm super excited about them. Tip number 4, leave space for flexibility. We basically made our lawn smaller to create a deeper and more generous garden bed around the property line, and I wanted to give a really deep bed eventually for vegetables in the sunniest spot of the yard. This is an area that we're not planting any perennials in. We're leaving the bed smooth, freshly dug, all the roots and rocks removed. We're irrigating it, and we're going to start our seedlings and relocate a few things that we have into this vegetable bed for our children to enjoy year after year. We also are planting out our rose bushes and our blueberry bushes, but there's some room to wiggle and other space for other things to go in. And obviously with the seasons, we're going to be wanting to change out the plantings and have annual color going in. My last tip is to put in infrastructure that you need. We are investing in flagstone that matches the flagstone on the house, and drip irrigation, which is a more responsible water-saving way to be watering our plants on our property, mulch, manure, peat moss, rose food for the roses, and acid lovers food for things like the camellias and the blueberries that love an acidic soil. Those are my tips. I'm gonna go grab my receipts and we can go over those. I'm sure you're dying to know what the actual costs were for a project like this. Now, for anybody else, or if you hired a landscaping company, I would say that this would have cost us thousands of dollars. What we actually spent factoring in the mulch that's on the way is $1,647.87. I wrote everything out on our budget, what came from where. I have the receipts to back everything up underneath. There are a couple of reasons why you might want to keep receipts from projects like these. One is this is a touchstone forever for any future projects that we might be doing at this property or another one. So I can look back in time and look at receipts that I spent on our old house for yard projects and get like a ballpark sense of what the budget might cost. Another reason that I keep these is for any guaranteed plants. There are some nurseries that I shop at that have a lifetime guarantee on shrubs, and for those plants I need to keep both the receipt as well as any tags or markers that come off of that plant. And I just stick these in a little folder and I literally keep them forever, because if a mole comes and eats my whole hedge or eats all my blueberries, this is gonna save me a lot of money that was spent and now needs to be redone. In terms of home improvements generally, I am a file keeper, and I just wanted to show you my systems for keeping this information, just in case you're planning any home improvements this year. In terms of tax write-offs, things that you do to your yard are kind of like a gray area, but any capital investments that you're doing to your house, like replacing windows or redoing insulation or any sort of like major improvements or construction, are worth documenting for tax reasons. I have a binder for every house. This is our old house, and this is actually the flyer from when we originally bought the house. I keep a tab for every single home project, things like wallpaper removal and installation, asbestos, heating and air. You know, if you sell the property and these numbers and receipts can be used to save you on capital gains taxes, that's one tax reason for keeping them. If you're selling the house and someone asks you for records on when did you replace your furnace, you have those records. And then in terms of just your own personal knowledge as a homeowner, it's really practical to know, like, when was the last time you had your trees trimmed, or when was the last time the house was painted, and what are those paint chip codes. And I keep all of those in my home binder. So as you can see, I essentially do the same thing for my garden. I think that we did a really good job staying on budget, and I cannot wait to live here a really long time and see these things grow. Thank you so much for spending your time with me on my channel today. I encourage you to please like and subscribe if you enjoyed it and you want to see more. Let me know in the comments down below what you liked, what you'd like to see more of this year, and I look forward to seeing you back here on my channel soon. Take care and Happy New Year.